Hello everyone, it is Jazz here. Today I felt like doing a short thoughts on current read segment, so that's what we're gonna do today, and let's jump in. I'm currently reading 5 books at the same time. I haven't been able to get to all of them as much as I want to, but I think if I set some goals, I'm going to balance all of that out eventually. So we might as well just start off with the book that is the elephant in the room and the book that I've been reading for a small eternity, and that is Memoirs to Author. I have not really progressed since I've last talked about this book, but I do have a plan to at least read 20 more pages of this by the end of the month. So wish me luck. I'm going to make time to at least progress a little through this book. Then I am rereading the book Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which is the first short story book in the Sherlock Holmes series. It is the 3rd novel if you're reading the novels in order. I am really enjoying the reread of this because I think I am trying to better learn how to get into short story books. I do prefer longer stories over short stories. So I think the first time that I read this book, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm hitting the short story book. And I think I didn't really appreciate some of the really fun things that can be in the Sherlock Holmes short stories. Sherlock, of course, just kind of cracks me up. He has a really funny way of saying things because his personality is, of course, so very different, and his mind is so above average, and I kind of enjoy that. And I also kind of enjoy how him and Watson are playing off each other in some of these short story cases, and I'm going to try to focus on enjoying that element instead of going, oh my gosh, it's a short story book. Now, I'm not really progressing through this as quickly as I intended, so I am going to kind of make this book a focus book from now on, now that I've already finished 1 book this month already. And in general, I think I'm going to spend the next week focusing a little bit more on some of the classic novels that I have picked up, which is this one in Memoirs to Author. I have also barely started the audiobook of A Nancy Boyce by Neil Gaiman. This is sort of a companion novel to American Gods, but you don't really have to read American Gods from what I've read so far in this to read A Nancy Boyce. You can just read it as a standalone. So if you followed me for a while, you know that this book is a book that for some reason has been very elusive to me. I can't seem to finish it for some reason. I keep starting it and not finishing it, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that I always pick it up when I'm in a reading slump. So I thought I would try picking this book up when I'm not in a reading slump, and also try picking this book up in audiobook. And I actually think that I enjoy this quite a bit more in audiobook, just because the type of story it is, I think, really comes across in an auditory way. I also think that the reader has some really good voices on this, and that is an extra super plus. I've only reached chapter 2, and I thought I was going to listen to a little bit more of this on a road trip, but I kept getting really relaxed in the car since I wasn't actually driving the car, and I kept falling asleep. So I definitely think I'm going to have to go back to my normal technique of listening to audiobooks where I either color or do chores while listening to this, because I do not want to miss a single element of this because the characters are quite funny. Next current read is Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. This is, of course, a fictionalized story about a Japanese woman that becomes a geisha. I am in the portion of the book where she is still a child, and basically how she got into the situation where she's going to be trained to be a geisha, which is really fascinating and interesting. I'm not sure how 100% accurate the book is, but it's still a really interesting idea. I really enjoy the narration and the way the author wrote the narrator. I am almost 100 pages in. The hilarious part of this book, though, is that I'm almost 100 pages in, and there are already some people that I want to smack in the face in this. I'm like, a character, I'm gonna smack you in the face, girl, because I cannot, no, girl, that was not cool what you did, girl, Obviously, I have personally found this really easy to get invested in, and I also really do enjoy the writing style and some of the metaphors and similes that the author uses because they're kind of different than the ones that other authors use. Lastly, I am reading a book called What Every Christian Ought to Know by Adrian Rogers. This is just basically what the title says. It's what every Christian ought to know. I kind of read this one a little bit differently than any other book that I read because I take part in a Bible study with some of my friends, and they pick a book and then we read the book and go through like each chapter every Monday. So I read one chapter of this, and then on Monday we like discuss. This is a great one if you are a new follower of Christ, but it's also a really nice informative thing if you are a long-time Christian. It has a really nice analogies. It has long chapters but short sections in those chapters, so you can progress through it really easy, or kind of like refocus your brain if you need to refocus before jumping into the next section. And also it is like informative without being boring. And I also find the study questions for each chapter really interesting because it really makes you evaluate things about yourself and how your thoughts kind of relate to the chapter. So I'm only on chapter 3, so we'll see how like the book goes from there, but I do think so far that this is a pretty good Bible study book. It is also a book that you could just read on your own and find some really cool things to help you communicate faith better, and also to help you really ground your faith and just grow in your relationship with God. So I'm intrigued to continue reading this with my friends and discuss it some more. So those were my thoughts on my current reads. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know that I do owe you guys a December favorites video, and I will be putting that up next week, but I wanted to do this video first because the structure of it kind of allows me to have a little more time to answer your guys' comments, because I'm really behind on answering comments to you guys, and I'm really sorry about that. It's been like a crazy couple of weeks, but I am gonna get on the ball with that after filming and editing this video, and hopefully talk to a lot of you. Also comment on this video with your thoughts on these books. And that is all for today, my fabulous peeps. I will see you all on Thursday. Thank you for watching. Bye.